This is the Cash Value Solutions Podcast, where your hosts, Jason Pohlmeyer and Kyle Mann, shed light on little-known money truths to help you take control of your financial future and become your own banker. Subscribe, rate, and review the show, and check us out at cashvaluesolutions.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this week's podcast. What do we have on the agenda today, Kyle?
Well, today we're going to be discussing how you access your money in the policy.
Okay. We have three different ways that can be done, right?
Yes, that would be the sad way, the dumb way, and the smart way.
Okay. We use terms like that to make it easier for you guys to remember, so please don't be offended by any of this. It's just once you hear it this way, we think it's easier for everybody to retain what they've heard.
Yeah, so let's start off with the first listed way, which is the sad way. So we say this is a sad way because the death benefit portion of the policy, when that pays out, it's because the insured has died. So that is one way to get capital out of the policy.
Yeah, and that's the traditional way that people buy life insurance is for death benefit, and that's the sad way, like we just discussed. The death benefit is paid out.
Yep.
That one's really straightforward about how it works. We could note, though, for IBC purposes, a lot of people are going to be using their policies and have loans with them. When you have a loan outstanding against a policy when the death benefit is paid out, let's say, for ease of numbers here, that you have a $500,000 death benefit and you have a $50,000 outstanding loan against the policy. What would be paid out to the beneficiary is $450,000. They would just deduct that loan from the death benefit to be paid to your beneficiary.
Yep.
So, what's next, Kyle?
So the next way to access capital in your policy is what we call the dumb way. And this involves withdrawing capital from your policy.
Okay, when we withdraw money from the policy, it is no longer working, no longer earning guaranteed interest and dividends, correct, Kyle?
Yeah, and you cannot put it back in.
Right. So we have a couple things that we do not like this scenario for. One, you lose compound interest on your money. I heard a great analogy of losing compound interest on your money. Somebody said it's like being at Disneyland and you're clear up at the front and your kid is in line to use the bathroom, and for whatever reason they leave the line and they have to start all over at the back again. Okay? You lose out on a lot of time value of money when you withdraw from your policy.
Mm-hmm.
All right? There's no way around it. You pay interest for everything. You either give up interest you could have earned by paying cash, or you pay interest to a third party.
You also, if you have gains on your capital that you withdrawed, you have to pay, if you have withdrawn more than your basis, so more than the amount you've put in, you have to pay taxes on those gains if you withdraw.
That's true. And, if we walk a little further down this line of thinking, so we start an IBC policy, we capitalize it, and we just start withdrawing money out of it. Well, what's going to happen in the end? We keep withdrawing money out of it, taking more and more money out of it, and eventually the account's going to go down to zero. We capitalize the policy for nothing at that point in time, right, Kyle?
Yep.
Okay. And then where are you going to perform the banking function again? Are you just going to go back down to your local bank in town? Okay. Performing the banking function requires borrowing and repaying because we're always working with borrowed money. And so that's the big reason why withdrawing doesn't really make sense to do.
Yeah.
You're not playing honest banker. Sorry.
There's one point where it can make sense, and that is in the years of passive income. It can make sense to withdraw up to your cost basis and then use policy loans to pull out the rest of the capital if you're using it for income in the later years of your life.
Right. And why it makes sense at that point in time. So say you're pulling out $50,000 a year to supplement your passive income. Well, if you never have a plan to pay that back in the future, it makes sense to delay when that policy loan interest starts to accrue against your cash value. So that's why it can make sense to draw down what's the cost basis, how much premium you've paid in before you use policy loans. And I should also say that we're talking about non-MEC policies, and we'll bring this up in another podcast. Let's do that, Kyle, because that's a big topic, MECs and non-MECs. But just remember, for this podcast, we're talking about non-MEC policies, meaning that we still have the favorable tax treatment.
Yes. And so the third and final way to access your capital and policy in your policy is what we call the smart way. The smart way involves using policy loans.
Okay. And do you want to elaborate on why this is the smart way? I think opportunity cost is a huge factor here.
Yeah. So when we use policy loans, the cash value that we've built up in the policy, it acts like it's never been touched. So if we have $50,000 of cash value in the policy and we take a $30,000 policy loan, our $50,000 is still earning interest on the complete $50,000 in the policy while we are using the policy loan on that $30,000 for something else.
Right. And so the term policy loan can be confusing. That makes it sound like you're taking money out of your insurance policy. But what is actually happening is the life insurance company is collateralizing your cash value. In Kyle's example, the $50,000, that's your cash value. They're collateralizing $30,000 and giving you their $30,000 from their general account for you as a policy loan. That's why all $50,000 is still inside of your policy, earning guaranteed interest and dividends, and $30,000 has a loan accruing against it. Now that $30,000, how interest accrues against it is calculated as annual simple interest. And just an example for you guys to understand how that works. Let's say you take out a $10,000 loan, and for this example, we'll say that the loan interest rate is 5%. So if you take $10,000 at a 5% loan interest rate over 1 year, you're going to have $500 of interest accrue against you. Now, how you figure that out down to a daily terms is you take $500, that's the interest that was charged to you, and you divide it by 365. That comes out to about, let me back up, 365 days in a year is why we picked that number. And that comes out to about $1.37 a day. So every day that you have the $10,000 policy loan, $1.37 is being tacked on as interest. Does that make sense, Kyle?
Yes. And you may be thinking, well, why would I ever pay interest to access my own money? And like he said, you're not accessing your own money. You're accessing the insurance company's money while your capital is growing like it's never been touched and the policy still. And the way these whole life insurance policies work and how we're still earning interest and then how we are, paying ourselves back, it makes sense to do this. We're recapturing lost opportunity costs.
Yeah. You're always working with borrowed money, like I said earlier. It's either, and that's because when it's your money, you're forfeiting the opportunity to earn interest on it. If you're using a third party's money, you have to pay them interest, okay? So you want to keep your money compounding for you. It's just like the example that I gave. You aren't losing your place in line with compound interest.
Well, another way you can think of it is, if you're buying a vehicle, let's say you have $50,000 in your bank account and you're going to go buy a $40,000 vehicle, but you want to keep your money liquid. And so you're going to take a loan from the bank for this vehicle. Well, your $50,000 is going to be sitting in the bank. Yes, it is liquid where you can use it where you need to, but it's going to be earning 0.1, 0.2% interest while you're paying the bank, anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7% interest.
It's why we don't use the traditional bank to do this, isn't it, Kyle?
Absolutely, yes.
It makes way more sense to do it with a whole life insurance contract.
Yes. We're forfeiting, we're paying interest to the bank, we're hardly earning any interest on our own money, and these policies, properly designed, allow us to recapture all those costs.
Yeah, for sure. And, think about this borrowed money thing as if you were a banker, would you give somebody a loan for 0% interest?
No.
Okay, you have to. If you're going to play honest banker with yourself and practice IBC, you have to play the game as the banker would, right?
Yeah.
You have to charge yourself interest. That's what's happening is the insurance company is charging you interest to use their money so your money can continue to grow.
Well, just like Nelson said, you finance everything you buy. You either pay interest to someone else or you give up interest you could have earned elsewhere. There are no exceptions.
There is no exception to that anywhere.
And it is a difficult concept to grasp. I mean, it was difficult for me to grasp at first, but it makes total sense. Okay, we're going to go over an example that we have in one of our blogs with you guys, and hopefully this clears things up. And if not, check out our blog, and it'll be linked in the show notes, and it'll have this chart on there with all the explanations, and it might be better to see. But so our example, we are talking about taking a $50,000 loan, and we're just using some round numbers here. We're not saying this is actual performance, this is guaranteed. No, we're just saying here's some round numbers, what you're likely to see when with your policy.
When you implement an IBC system.
Yes, and it's a mature policy. It's capitalized and
exactly. You have to capitalize the policy.
So we're going to say that you're earning 4% compound interest on your money in the policy, and your policy loan is 5%. So even a whole percentage point more the policy loan is than what you're earning in the policy. Well, how can that make sense still? Well, we're saying that you've borrowed this $50,000 over a 10-year, and you're paying it back over a 10-year period. Okay. And that $50,000 is earning uninterrupted compounding interest at 4%.
So it's on a growing amount of money every single year.
Yes.
The pile of money gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes. Unlike the loan, which is on a decreasing pile of money.
Exactly. That's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Which is how this works. So over a 10-year period, that $50,000 that earns 4% every year grows to $74,012.21. Okay. And then over that 10-year period, you have paid $13,639.21 in interest. Okay.
Yep, following you.
So let's take that. Let's take the gain that we've had in our policy, which is $24,012.21 minus $13,639.21, and you've actually had a net gain of
$10,373.
Wow, that's magic.
But what's the real magic is you recaptured the $13,639.21 in this example because you capitalized a system to recapture interest in your life.
Yeah, so that policy now is worth the total $74,012.21.
Yeah. And so you have all that money working for you again, earning compound interest, right? It never stopped working for you. This system is so powerful when implemented in your life, guys.
Yeah, so hopefully that made some sense, and you can see why this is the way to go.
Yeah, creating a cash flow management system for you to control cash flows in and cash flows out. We tried to keep this example that's in one of our blogs really simple. We'll link it in the show notes so you can see it. But yeah, it just makes so much sense to do this with a system that has the benefits which whole life insurance just so happens to have.
And this shows you exactly why, like, focusing on creating a cash flow management system is probably going to be more beneficial to you than investing.
Well, I would say more than probably it is going to be. Controlling
Sure.
the banking function in your life it's more powerful than any type of investing that anybody can do.
Sure.
It just takes discipline to capitalize a system.
Yes. And to understand that, yes, you're going to pay interest to the insurance company on your money, but remember, you're earning interest, uninterrupted compounding interest on your money and cash value.
Exactly. When I was first exposed to IBC, I had been paying for everything with cash because I thought that was the way to do it. I didn't know what opportunity cost was. And I thought, my money in the bank isn't making anything. So this is the right way to do it. And then after reading Becoming Your Own Banker, it opened my eyes, and further research just led me to believe, like, wow, controlling the banking function, creating a cash flow management system in your life, that is unbelievably powerful.
Yes. So I hope this podcast has kind of cleared some stuff up for you guys. And I really recommend checking out our blog, How Do I Access the Money in My Policy, to see this example on paper.
Yeah, and I would just like to add that not only is this system powerful and stuff, but I mean, it is a predictable way to build your wealth. Would you agree with that, Kyle?
Absolutely.
Dividend rates are going to change, but whole life insurance is a tried and true financial asset, and this is the most predictable way to get where you want to go in life financially.
Yes, this is creating tailwind.
Creating a tailwind in your life, exactly. So, okay, guys, I think that's everything we have. How about you, Kyle?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
This was the Cash Value Solutions Podcast. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Check us out at cashvaluesolutions.com. And don't forget to tune in next week.